Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a hypothetical League of Legends World Cup. What exactly would it look like? What would the different rosters and teams be? How would things go down? And overall, just kind of if it would be a good idea, if it would be something fun to watch. Obviously, Fion on Fire got the conversation started when he tweeted out, I want to see a League of Legends World Cup. He also posted this meme with it when USA and Canada go out in groups. But like a real LCS fan, I still have Denmark, which I just thought was really, really funny. And this is not a totally brand new, unique idea. It's something that people have said before. It's something people have like theorized and crafted up hypotheticals for before. But hey, he got the conversation started again, so I thought it was something really, really interesting that I wanted to talk about. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick a word from our sponsor, which is Draft Buff. Obviously, the LCS, LCK, LEC season is right around the corner, and Draft Buff is an awesome website and app where you can play fantasy esports. It's an awesome way to build a fantasy team of the best players in esports. They have all different kinds of games: League of Legends, Rainbow Six, Call of Duty League, and more. Fantasy leagues where you can play head-to-head all season long. They have Royale, where you can draft on a budget. And there's Draft Pass where you can earn avatars and taunts to show who's the boss. So if you're interested in playing fantasy sports all season long, definitely get signed up for Draft Buffs today. If you do, make sure you use code IAMGERM. I would appreciate it a bunch, and so would they. With that being said, here we go, getting right into today's video, which again, we're talking about the League of Legends World Cup. So I did some Googling. I started to think about what some different rosters and teams would be, and honestly, this is something I did last year. I made like this whole spreadsheet of what I thought World Cup teams would look like, but I never made the video just for whatever reason, so that's another reason why I really want to talk about this. So I did some Googling. I found this really cool article from theloadout.com where they actually make their whole own League of Legends World Cup. So I'm definitely going to have this article linked down in the description below because they put a ton of awesome time, effort, and work into this. I appreciate it a ton. And I'm pretty much just going to be going over this, reviewing it, giving my thoughts and opinions about everything they had, checking out the rosters they made, making some tweaks here and there, taking a look what the hypothetical League of Legends World Cup would look like, who would win, and just what we think about it as a whole. So here we go. First up, they talk about when esports players usually head to the big stage, they're only there for one thing: to bring home the trophy. In most situations, they're there to work hard for the organization. But what if we, put the country's colors behind them? There's been some other people who have done this: Overwatch, Rainbow Six. I know Fortnite has done some World Cup stuff before. So first of all, talking about how a League of Legends World Cup would work, you got to decide the teams because there's all different kinds of teams all over the place. There's maybe some countries who couldn't field an entire roster of professional players, and then some countries that would maybe have some lesser known talent, some countries who are really, really strong in a couple of positions but not total overall, and then obviously you have the juggernauts, teams like China and South Korea and stuff. When you are doing a World Cup, you want a mix of teams from all different kinds of regions, all different places of the world to get a lot of people hyped up, but also just to be fair. You don't want it to be all Eastern teams, you don't want it to be all Western teams, nothing like that. So this website came up with 10 teams that they think fit the bill for League of Legends World Cup. So we have USA, Canada, Argentina, Germany, Denmark, Poland, South Korea, China, Taiwan, and Australia. So we have a nice mix again of Eastern, Western, some big regions, some smaller regions, but you still want the country to have a lot of fans and a lot of players and stuff, so people get excited about it. So I think they did a good job with this list. I don't think there was anything too egregious that they left off, at least that I could think of. Maybe you guys have something in mind that they maybe missed, but I thought this was a solid list nonetheless. Whether it's perfect or whatever, they say honorable mentions go to Sweden, Brazil, Vietnam. Vietnam would have been interesting as well. I could see them maybe replacing some teams on this list. But those are the 10 they went with. They say feel free to roast them. I don't really have any roasts. Vietnam maybe would have been cool. I think Sweden honestly has a decent team as well. But again, this is what they went with. So they're trying to mirror this over the Overwatch World Cup. So in ours, 10 teams are randomly drawn into 2 groups of 5. Each team will play the others in their group in a best of 3 series. Teams are ranked in their groups based on how many series they win. If 2 or more teams have the same record at the end, they move on. The top team from each group then heads straight to the semifinals, and the second and third seeds go to the quarterfinals. So we're looking at 2 groups of 5 where the top 3 are making it out of each group. So first up, we're going to look at the group draw, which is going to be Group A of Argentina, Australia, Canada, South Korea, and Germany, and then Group B with USA, Poland, Taiwan, Denmark, and China. So, first, we need to be looking at the rosters because the rosters are going to be important. So, we have the Argentina team. I have not heard of ACCE. I don't know if that's Ace or what. We have Jose Dioto. Obviously, he's a beast in the jungle. That's pretty exciting. Top Lop, White Lotus, who we all know, and then Shadow, also from Rainbow 7. So, Argentina has an interesting roster. Australia does look pretty scary as well. They have Fudge, Babip, two guys people are really, really excited about. FBI, a guy I love and I'm really, really hyped for. Destiny, a new guy getting in the LCS, and then Ryoma, who is maybe their pretty clear weak link here. I'm not sure if Australia has any better mid laners. Nobody's really coming to mind for me there. But that is a pretty interesting team. They have some big carries in Fudge and FBI. They have a lot of youth. This is a team that could be trouble in a couple of years. Next up, we have Canada. Obviously, that's the problem with North America. It's like a lot of the players are Canadian, a lot of the players are American, so they kind of get all jumbled up. And obviously, the LCS imports a lot of talent already, so they already don't even have a ton of talent to begin with. But Licorice, Hard, I'm not too excited about seeing Hard in the jungle of Blaze Olive, Wild Turtle, and Vulcan. So they have two superstars in Licorice and Vulcan, but then the rest of the team is kind of leaves a lot to be desired. Wild Turtle, not too bad, but Hard and Blaze Olive, I think they would struggle on the international stage. South Korea, we have Nuggery, Canyon, Showmaker, Ruler, and Barrel. Obviously, it's tough not seeing Faker on there, and I know a lot of people would be upset about that, but there's so many good Korean mid laners. I think you can't really go wrong anywhere, but just the star power of Faker, I think we'd be really, really missing out on in the World Cup, especially if it was the first ever World Cup. You're trying to maximize like viewership and everything. I think Faker would have to be on the team, but Showmaker's great. Nuggery, Canyon, South Korea, an insane team, insane roster. Germany is actually a very, very scary team, too. We have Broken Blade, Gilius, Abadage, Upset, and Kaiser. I would maybe like to see Power of Evil in the mid lane over Abadage, but the team still looks very, very stacked. They have no clear weakness. Maybe Gilius, maybe Abadage, but BB, Upset, Kaiser, absolutely insane. Really nasty roster. The USA, this one I didn't completely agree with. They have Fate God, Blabber, Demonte, Tactical, and Aphromu. I'm not sure why they would go with Fate God in the top lane. You have guys like Haunser who are out there as options. I don't know. Fate God has not really impressed me at all. I would definitely not be excited to see that. But Blabber, Tactical, Aphromu, pretty solid. Demonte, not really an international quality mid laner. Fate God, not really either. Aphromu past his prime. Blabber and Tactical would have to hard carry this team, but they're both so young. The USA team definitely leaves a lot to be desired. Then we have Poland, another little interesting team. We have Agresivu, who's the new top laner, maybe backup top laner. He's like fighting for that position on Misfits. Yankos, Jekyllad, really, really strong jungle mid lane duo. Woolite, and then Vander, who's been just insane in the LEC recently. So Poland has a decent team. We got Taiwan with Hanabi, Karza, Fofo, Betty, and Sword Art. That's a scary, scary Taiwanese team. Denmark, another team that people would be super, super excited about. We have Wonder, Santorin, Caps, Sven, and Doss. The one thing that sucks is they're not really a great Danish support. But Caps, Sven, Santorin, Wonder, that's going to be a scary, scary team. A team with a ton of international experience, a ton of domestic experience in both the LEC and LCS. That would be a very, very good team. China, we have 369, Wei Knight, Jackie Love, and LV Mao. Another really, really good team. Obviously, China and Korea have a ton of difficult decisions to make because there's so many great players at each position. But Knight, Jackie Love, two absolutely massive carries, 369, one of the best top laners in the world. That China team looks very, very scary. But there's all the rosters. If you guys have any complaints, anything you'd like to change, whatever, you can definitely leave comments down below. You could go on and on forever having discussions about those rosters and stuff. But then the games had to get played out. What would the group stage look like? What the loadout thinks is that this first group would go with South Korea, Germany, Australia, South Korea, Germany, Canada, Australia, and Argentina in that order. I think obviously South Korea would be the clear number one here. And I would even say that Germany is a clear number two. I think that German roster definitely looks better than Canada, Australia, and Argentina. I think it would be a close battle for third between Canada and Australia, though. That Australian team did not look bad at all. If we can scroll back up to their roster real quick, we have Fudge, Babip, Ryoma, FBI, and Destiny against Licorice, Hard, Blaze Olive, Wild Turtle, and Vulcan. Those would be some good series. Obviously, I think that Ryoma is kind of a big question mark in the mid lane, but Canada has a Blaze Olive and Hard too. That would be a little bit scary for me. I would honestly lead toward the Australian team a little bit, but this loadout website, they did go with Canada. That's what they're thinking. I might mix that up a little bit. And then in Group B, we have China, Denmark, Taiwan, Poland, and the United States. That I pretty much do agree with. China, they're clearly the best team in that group. Denmark, to me, is a similar strength to like Germany. They're probably the third best team in this tournament. And then we have Taiwan, Poland, and the USA. Taiwan would be tough. They're always a tough out at international competition stuff. That would be interesting to see with Denmark. But man, Caps, Wonder, Sven, St. Torrent, that team has so much talent. I think they'd be able to get over the hump as well. Then we move on to the knockout stage where we have Denmark versus Canada in the first round. To me, that's an easy dub for the Denmark team. I really don't think that Canadian team can stack up to them. Caps, Wonder, that team's just too good. And then the other quarterfinals being Germany and Taiwan. That would be an interesting matchup, honestly, because that German team does look pretty scary. But again, guys like Sword Art, Kaiser, the Taiwanese team is going to be very, very strong. So I think the Taiwanese team would end up taking that. But man, I think it would be a tough series. So then our semifinals are going to be South Korea and Denmark. Denmark kind of getting a bad draw here. That sucks. But I mean, I guess there's only 4 teams left. So you're going to run into either China or South Korea. It would be a big matchup once again. We have, that G2 is always playing against these top teams, which is why the World Cup would be kind of cool. Getting to see these players play against each other once again. More international competition and tournaments I think would be great for the League of Legends scene. I do think South Korea would take down Denmark, and then China and Taiwan on the other side. I think that would have to go to the Chinese squad. And then we get to the third place match because you got to have a bronze medalist and stuff like this. The loadout actually has Taiwan taking down Denmark, but I think Denmark would be able to beat them. I think it would be a very, very good series. Again, I think Taiwan is always a tough out. They perform well internationally. But man, Caps, Wonder, I think the Denmark team would be very, very good. I would have them as my third place team. And then we get to the grand finals. Obviously, China versus South Korea. Riot, please make this happen. This would be so hype, just as they talk about. They actually do have South Korea taking down the World Cup. And I mean, Koreans have always been, the League of Legends meme, how Koreans are the best, and you want to be like Koreans and just take Korean advice and blah, 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 blah. And China did have a nice little run of winning some international competitions. But I do still think South Korea would come out on top. Their roster was absolutely stacked. And there were so many tough decisions where they could have even went with different players and had an equally just as stacked roster. And I do think they would come out on top against China. But this would be an absolutely epic series, and it would be so fun to watch. So, in the end, this is what the World Cup would look like hypothetically with all the different rosters, all the different group stages. There's a million different ways you could set up the tournament. But the questions are always going to be, how would this work? When would it be? Who would play in it? How would this all work out? And would it be worth it? Would people watch? Would it be interesting? Would it be exciting? I do hope we get to see this at some point in League of Legends, but I get what the downsides and drawbacks would be as well. But again, I just think it's fun to kind of theorize, to speculate, and to think about these kind of things. I think it's really fun to take a look at all the different rosters and stuff as well. But you never know how the different synergies and stuff would play out, especially as teams and players and stuff don't have a ton of time to practice with each other. You'd get a ton of wacky results. But in the end, I think it would be super fun to watch. I would definitely tune in, and I hope it's something that Riot, looks into and maybe makes happen in the near future. We know that it's something they've considered, it's something they've talked about internally, but they've never found the right time to do it, or that it was a good idea to do, or whatever. But I think it's really interesting, and obviously Fion on Fire does as well, and a lot of other people in the League of Legends community. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below letting me know any problems, issues, whatever you had in this article. If there's any rosters you would have changed, if there's any matchups you would have changed, if there's any thoughts and opinions you have about the League of Legends World Cup at all, I would love to hear them. Subscribe to update on my latest content. Make sure you guys check out Draft Buff. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!